Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Keep It Solid. I am Solid Blue Sister, and today is Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. So, I was a little late to Sound of Coffee. Thomas Seville is on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. I'm just getting out of bed, but I caught the tail end of his show, and I'm going to piggyback off of his show. So, in terms of when I came in, what he was talking about, and I just want y'all to know is I'm woke. I stay woke. Okay, I stayed woke. Um, you know, and I put it in the description of the show is that you know MAGA, and I'm going to go back to Ron DeSantis, has twisted the word woke and they've turned it into something bad. And, you know, we, us woke people, need to push back on the narrative that the right, which is now MAGA, there are no Republicans anymore. In my opinion, this is just my humble opinion. If you vote Republican in this day and age, you're voting for MAGA because MAGA is what is represented on the right. And you fall into that category, in my opinion. Now, people can say, oh, but the left, you leftist people. I hear that from people all the time. You know, you fucking liberals. I hear that. And I'm not, and see, one thing that I will say that I truly believe that I do that other people don't is I will admit when I'm wrong. I don't try to deflect. I know that there are people on the left who say, you fucking people on the right, you fucking MAGAs, because I know that I say it. You know, but getting back to woke, we have, when I say we, I'm talking about us woke people. And you could be woke and be independent. You could be woke Green Party. But I don't think you're woke if you voted for Trump. You may be woke now and say, oh shit, I made a mistake. Because we know there are a lot of Latinos who are suddenly woke. Are they really? We'll see at the next election. See, because I look at it like this, okay? Being woke means to be aware. Being woke means that you are aware that certain things in this country happen. Being woke means, again, to be aware that before you cross the street, you need to look to the left, look to the right. to make sure that there's not a car coming. Being woke means to be aware, and so many people on the right have taken that and they've made it into something dirty. Woke means that you don't believe that you're better than someone else. And there are a lot of people in this country who feel that they are better than others. They feel they're better than others because of their economic status, because of the color of their skin, where they live, the kind of car that they drive. Where they went to school. Woke means that you learn about people who are different from you and value and respect those differences. Here in America, while they're so busy, while MAGA is so busy trying to make it white again and trying to erase history, they have to remember something. America represents at least 61 people, 61 different countries or more. America has someone from everywhere. So, it's interesting that you had people saying that America is supposed to be a melting pot. But yet they don't want it to be a melting pot. They don't want that melting pot. Why? They say, go back to where you came from. Why don't you go back to where you came from? Where did you come from? Did you come from Europe? Did you come from Ireland? Did you come from Poland? Did you come from Italy? Did you come from China, Japan, Ireland, Spain? Where did you come from? And all of us, we all need to stay woke. All of us do. We all need to we all just need to be aware of what is going on in this country. Now, I mentioned before, I don't remember if I mentioned it on this show or if I mentioned it on Friendly Differences, but I'm supposed to take a trip in January. I was going to cancel the trip. I started to say, let me just, me and my son, let me just get my money back. My plane tickets, my schedule has been changed 5 times. 5 times. And I'm at the point of where um, I am going to cancel because um, planes are not taking off on time. You know, you have a hotel room, you can lose that. You don't cancel within 24 hours. A lot of places you have to pay for the first night. And it's just really just gotten to the point of where this country is so screwed up because air traffic controllers, we don't have enough of them. We don't have enough pilots. We don't have enough of anything anymore. Because MAGA is taking a lot of things away. And if you don't think that's true, look at your paycheck. When you go into a restaurant, there aren't enough waiters, there's not enough staff. You have federal employees that are still furloughed, so there are federal buildings that are not being maintained. It's not just about the price of eggs. It's not just about the price of gas. You can't keep, say Biden, Biden, Biden. Our economy is worse now under Trump than it was under Biden. Hell, you have illegal immigrants who are scared to walk down the street, who are scared to come out of their house because ICE is picking them up. You have all these illegal raids that are going on. You have children, toddlers being handcuffed. But hey, this is who you voted for. You weren't woke. You were not woke. And that is on you. That is on you. That is on you. MAGA has taken this country and they've turned it into something that's not good. Woke means that you see the world from an abundance rather than a scarcity or a mentality. Woke means that you care about the well-being of all people, regardless of their race, religion, ability, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status. The human in me sees a human in you. But I am going to tell you, I am going to tell you something. I don't care about the well-being of everyone. If you choose to vote against your interests, in the interest of your family, and then you complain about it. I don't what is the word I want to say? I don't care if about you if you do something stupid, and that something stupid is that you are voting against your own interests. That's on you. That's on you. That's your choice. That's what you chose to do. I do not care about farmers who were so busy on the, on the Trump bandwagon, laughing at Biden, dissing Kamala, when you had a president talking about Joe Biden who gave you the subsidies to help run your farm, help pay for the equipment that you purchase. And while you're so busy talking about the illegals, you're hiring them, but now they're afraid to come to work, and they're not going to work. So your work on your farm is not being done. You can't pay for things that you bought on credit because those farm subsidies were canceled. I don't care. And it's gotten to the point of where y'all, do you understand what's at stake? Do you understand how many rights are being taken away? Do you care about that? But you don't care because it's not happening to you. But when it starts happening to you, all of a sudden it becomes a problem. All of a sudden it becomes a problem. But it's always been a problem. Even when things weren't happening to you. It was a problem. Even when things were happening to your neighbor, it was a problem. So I'm not going to be concerned about you right now. I'm concerned about the people who are woke. I'm concerned about the people who stayed woke. I'm concerned about the people who are collateral damage because of what you did. See, a lot of people, MAGA, people on the right, say that, oh, the woke folks, they want you to feel guilty. I don't want you to feel guilty. We don't want you to feel guilty. Why do we want you to feel guilty? If you feel guilty, that's guilt on your own. Because we talk about slavery, because we talk about 1619 Project, because we want to embrace our heritage, because we want to have museums talking about our heritage, just like you have museums talking about yours, because we want to unlearn the crap that we were taught in school. Y'all, and I'm talking to my Black brothers and sisters right now. I'm a reader. I don't boast about it. I don't go around telling people I read. Because one thing that I do know is I read a lot, but I don't read everything. It's impossible for me to read everything. It's impossible to say I didn't see that, so therefore it didn't happen. I'm not one of those people because I know that I don't read everything. I can't, because there are things that are being written that are in foreign languages that I cannot read. But when you read, you learn. And one thing that they wanted to take away from Black people was an education. And that's why it's so important that we get one. Because when you have an education, you are woke. Because you're aware. You're aware of things that have happened in the past, that are happening now, and things that are planned for the future. You are woke. Um, Woke means you believe what happens to the least of us affects all of us. And I do believe that. But I also believe that if you do something intentional and it's hurting all of us, I'm not going to help you. You'll get it past one time. But if you're that repeat offender, if you're that repeat offender, like I said, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in helping you. I'm not interested in um, helping you further an agenda that hurts a whole group of people. And I'm not talking about people who are um, uh, of a particular race, religious background, whatever. I'm talking about people who did nothing to to feed the flames of what is going on. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. You know, it just doesn't make sense to me. I had someone who made a mention. You have a stay woke hat. Yeah, I have a stay woke hat. I got it on my head. I have a solid and woke shirt. I have a racism sucks shirt. I have a Malcolm X shirt, Malcolm X hat. I've been part of protests. My parents were part of protests for civil rights. But again, when things don't happen to you, you deflect. You don't care about what happens to others. Um, I'm woke. I'm with the woke program. I was woke in 2016 when I voted for Hillary Clinton. I had people in my family who didn't want to vote for Hillary Clinton. It was like, oh no, no, not Hillary, not Hillary, not Hillary. They wanted Bernie Sanders. But I was woke back then because I knew Bernie did not have the qualifications that Hillary Clinton had. And I knew that Hillary Clinton damn well had the qualifications over Trump. The only thing that Trump is qualified to do is bloviate. That is what he is qualified to do. Okay, and Captain Tripp says Trump 2028. Okay. I'm going to put your comment up. I appreciate the fact that you came into my show, But again, I was woke in 2020. I was woke in 2024. I'm a boomer. And I know boomers get a lot of flack. Just like the silent generation got a lot of flack. But when you're in a situation where things don't affect you because of, you have to really I'm reading what Captain Tripp is saying. He says, you don't know what woke means. You don't know anything about Hillary Clinton. You only know Orange Man Hitler. I have no idea what you're talking about because I do know about Hillary Clinton. I am not MAGA, and I am definitely woke. And I read Mein Kampf twice. As much as I can't stand Tucker Carlson, I've read his books. In fact, I've read most of the books that have been put out by people on Fox News because I want to be aware of what is going on. I want to be aware of what the other side is saying. I remember going on vacations with my family and having to take the green book with us because we weren't allowed in certain hotels. But having a mother that pretty much changed that. If you want to vote for Trump in 2028, if he illegally runs, just like Franklin Roosevelt illegally ran in in the 40s, you do that. But I'm going to remain woke. Because again, you have a terminology that Black people created and it's being twisted. Just like you have MAGA who they don't like the term colonization. At one point, they wanted to make colonization a racist word. Why are you wanting to make it a racist word? There's a lot of colonization that has gone on in this country. Let's start with the Native Americans. Let's start with them. And as much as I'm against illegal immigration, because I believe when you come over here, you should do it the right way. Let's talk about the colonization of California. Out of greed, out of wanting power. You know, let's talk about that. You know, you can't you know what, but you can. You can vote for someone who is spewing a narrative that appeals to you because it's who you are. It's because it's who you are. You're that racist person. You're that evil person. You're that person who's grabbing women by the pussy. You're that person. You're that person who will talk about Kamala Harris and will totally diss and disrespect Michelle Obama while you ignore and deflect that Melania Trump is on the internet nude, naked. Y'all don't talk about that. You'll talk about Hillary Clinton and Michelle Obama and Kamala Harris. But you don't talk about how educated they are over Melania Trump. And I know some of my Black sisters are going to get pissed off at me. But Hillary Clinton was more qualified than Kamala Harris in terms of running this country. She was more qualified. I'm not saying she was more educated, but I'm saying she was more qualified. But in terms of education, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, hands down, over somebody like Melania Trump, hands down over someone like Donald Trump. And even more qualified. See, I don't vote color. I don't vote color. And Captain Trips, I'm trying to figure out what side you're on, whatever, because you're calling me, you're calling me, the only thing I know is orange. And then you're saying, yes, California was colonized by Mexicans who took it from the Native Americans. I'm not going to say Indians, who took it from the Spanish, who took it from the Aztecs. It was colonized. And that's another thing too. Let's talk about these labels that we've been assigned. We've been assigned these labels. We've been assigned, things like chinks and nigger and spick. Who assigned us those names? Who gave us those names? Who started the stereotypes? It wasn't the Jews, like some people would say. Do they have a part in it? Maybe. But these stereotypes, see, race doesn't matter anymore. Nobody cares about your race card. Maybe. But the race card is consistently played. It's consistently played. When is it played? When you go into the media and you have people who say the black man did it. That's playing the race card. The race card is played when people get pulled over and stopped when they shouldn't. When you're in the wrong area, when people think you're in the wrong neighborhood. That's the race card. And race does matter. We may not agree, and that's fine. People disagree with me all the time. I'm okay with that. Am I going to get into an argument and go back and forth on it? Nope. You believe what you want to believe, and I'll believe what I want to believe, and I'm going to keep it moving. If you don't like some of the things that I say, that is your prerogative. And I respect that. I respect that. I respect that people have the right to their own opinion, to their own belief. If you want to worship God, worship God. If you want to worship an idol, worship an idol. If you want to carry around a plant and worship that, bless you. As long as you're not hurting anyone You can do whatever the hell you want. I may not agree with your lifestyle. I may not approve of how you live your life, but it's your lifestyle and it's your life. As long as you're not hurting anyone, or no one is getting hurt physically or mentally, emotionally, whatever, you can do whatever the hell you want. I don't care. But when your actions start to affect other people, I care. If you're out protesting or marching or whatever you're doing, and then if someone in the crowd says something you don't like, and then you turn around and want to start beating up that person, you start going after that person, then I have a problem. But there are a lot of things that people do care about and a lot of things that do matter because it affects them. It affects them. Things happen to other people that don't happen to you. You don't know what someone else's life is like. You don't know what someone has to go through. You don't. None of us do. None of us, I can't say, I see my neighbor every day. Every day we speak, we joke, we say hi to each other. When he goes to his house, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. He doesn't know what's going on in my house. Things matter. Maybe not to you or the people you're around, but it does matter because it's still affecting other people. And that's why being woke and being aware matters. You know, until it happens to you, and it's starting to happen to people now. The people who were all, yeah, DEI, DEI, let's get rid of DEI. And then Elon Musk swoops in. And I've said this before, I've said it on Friendly Differences. Elon Musk swoops in and uh, starts firing some of everybody. And some of those same people who are like, yeah, DEI, DEI, get rid of them. It was like, whoa, wait. It was supposed to happen to me. I'm not DEI. And Captain Tripp says it was conquered. We'll disagree on that. People, when things don't happen to you, You see things from a whole different perspective. I didn't grow up poor. I grew up with a mother and a father who, until my father passed away, they were married for 60 years. My father grew up poor. My father grew up dirt poor. I didn't grow up poor, but I empathize with people who don't have as much as others. I'm not going to turn my nose up at them, but some people do. Until I went to college, I did not know anyone who came from a single family home. Everybody I grew up with had a mother and a father. Do I look down on single parents, be it a single mother or a single father? No. But I am woke to what's going on around me. I realize that you have the haves and the have nots. And sometimes the haves can be pretty mean and nasty. I also know the things that my sister and I went through when we were going to school. I know what I go through in the area that I live. Go back to Africa, getting called nigger, getting followed around in stores. Yes, that's still happening. It's happening to me, and it's happening to people that I see. I see people being looked down upon because they don't have as much as others. Mahatma Gandhi said that love should be the organizing principle of individual lives as well as the whole of society. Mahatma Gandhi said, where there is love, there's life, and where there is love, there is light. This was a humble man. This was a simple man who was assassinated. When you look at the assassinations that have happened in this country, who's behind them? What was the reason? What was the cause? What was the reason and what was the cause? And it's usually because of power. It's usually out of greed. It's usually out of not wanting the truth to get out. When you look at all these shootings that are going on, they talk about Chicago and how, oh my God, Chicago's this horrible place to live. Like there's a shooting on every corner. It isn't. But that's what the media wants you to believe. But when you look at these mass shootings, who's behind them and why? Staying woke means to be aware, to be aware of what is going on, to be aware of what is going around. Does woke equal love? For some people. For others, not so much. Woke is a dirty word. MAGA has turned woke into a dirty word. They have turned it into something that is not nice. They turned it into something where, you know, we're trying to make you feel guilty. I'm not trying to make you feel guilty. If you feel guilty, that's your own guilt. I'm not even thinking about guilt. I'm just woke. I'm going to stay woke. I was raised woke. I'm proud of being woke. I'm proud of every single vote that I have cast. I don't have voter's remorse. I don't deflect. And I am one of those people who will admit but check me out on Friendly Differences on Saturday, because I'm going to talk about cowards. Because this is something that's been just something I just want to talk about, just cowards. But right now, let's go to this. Okay, so we're going to talk about Solid's timeline. If I take myself, Solid, in 2025, and I can go back in time, where would I go? What would I do? This week, I would go back in time to Emmett Till. That is where I would go. I would go back in time to Emmett Till and I would tell him, don't go down south. Or I would say, if you go down south, just don't say anything. Don't make a comment. Don't say anything. Because the South is not like the North, even though the North is bad. It's not like the South. And Emmett Till lived, if he were alive today, he would be 84 years old. That's what I would do if I could go back in time. But at the same time, I am someone who believes that things happen for a reason. And the death of Emmett Till and how he died, how he was murdered, um, what his mother did by insisting that he be on the front page of Jet magazine and papers all over the country. It had to shed a light on what was going on, not only at that time, but things like that are still happening. There are a lot of imbeciles. You may not know all of them, but they're there. I know. It's happened in my family. I've had 2 great uncles that were lynched. I would go back in time and I would tell Mamie Till to keep her son at home. Or I would tell Emmett, just don't say anything. Survive. But at the same time, was Emmett Till's murder something that had to happen? Because it showed the atrocities of the South. I don't know. So on that note, you guys, I am Solid Blue Sister. This is Keep It Solid. I am on the Ghost Claw Productions Radio Network here on YouTube. And you can find me over and Friendly Differences podcast on Saturday, where I will be talking about cowards. And that is at 12 noon Pacific for Friendly Differences, 2 p.m. Central, and 3 p.m. Eastern. Again, on Ghost Claw Productions Radio. I will also be posting the shows on Podbean, so you can listen there. But everyone, thank you for listening. Keep it solid. Peace.